venture into the frontiers of healthcare data innovation with the Health Data Forum. Welcome to the Health Data Forum's YouTube channel, your gateway to thought-provoking conversations, cutting-edge insights, and groundbreaking advancements in healthcare data. Join us as we explore the transformative power of data to revolutionize healthcare delivery, patient care, and societal well-being. Embark on a journey of discovery. Delve into healthcare data through our informative videos, featuring leading experts, thought leaders, and innovators. Discover how our global movement, Data First, AI Later, is building a strong foundation for ethical and impactful healthcare solutions. Experience the collaborative spirit. Be a part of our vibrant community of health data enthusiasts, where ideas converge, partnerships flourish, and innovation takes center stage. Participate in discussions, share your perspectives, and join us in shaping the future of data-driven healthcare. Stay informed about the latest developments in healthcare data through our comprehensive video library. Catch up on insightful interviews, thought-provoking presentations, and engaging discussions about the role of data as the backbone of healthcare transformation. Join us in shaping the future of healthcare. Let's harness the power of data to transform healthcare for the better. Subscribe to our channel today and become part of the Health Data Forum's mission and our Data First, AI Later initiative to make healthcare data work for everyone.
And greetings everybody. It's really a pleasure to be here with all of you again in another video broadcast in our social media channels, Health Data Forum mainly, but also other channels on both LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. It's really great to be here with all of you again for another interview. And this time, also with our guest speaker that is going to be introduced in a minute, I have to introduce my co-host because it's a great pleasure to have here with me Dr. George Mathew. Dr. George Mathew is a distinguished leader at the forefront of healthcare innovation, digital transformation, and clinical informatics. With a career spanning clinical medicine and executive roles in leading health tech companies, including chief medical officer roles at Daedalus and DXC Technology, Dr. Mathew has been a key figure in shaping global strategies around healthcare interoperability, value-based care, and AI integration. His unique cross-sector experience from payer environments at Etnia to large-scale digital health deployments makes him an invaluable guide in navigating the complex interface between health data, governance, and emerging technologies. As a chair of the advisory board at the Health Data Forum, he brings a powerful vision grounded in responsible AI adoption and patient-centered transformation. It's really great to have you here, George. Welcome.
Obrigado. Thank you so much, Paul. I appreciate it. Paul has still been helping me with my Portuguese, but I'm working on it as best I can. If you don't mind, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce Guru Kora. It's my pleasure to introduce my friend, just because as a technology leader, as an innovator, as a researcher, he has experience in interoperability, artificial intelligence, and big data analytics, and he's chosen to apply this in the healthcare field globally. He's played a key role in advancing healthcare technology across all sectors: payer, provider, life sciences, and government. He's had leadership roles at companies such as Pluto Health, Verana Health, PYA Analytics, and he's worked in the U.S. The Oak Ridge National Laboratory, leading large-scale AI-driven healthcare initiatives. He's managed deployments in the AWS in the U.S. East. He's driven technology expansion and has been a CTO and co-founder of many companies. And now he is driving the delivery of care in an efficient way globally with a new company built with artificial intelligence called Times AI Health. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce my friend, Guru Kora. Guru?
Thank you, George. Good evening, everybody.
So, Paul, would it be all right for me to ask Guru a couple questions to help introduce him to people?
Absolutely. I would like to welcome Guru as well. It's really great to have you here, Guru, and the opportunity we have before this to prepare this interview to discuss and learn more about you. And I'm sure, George, you're going to ask some fascinating questions that I also would like to comment in occasionally. And let's start the show.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Paul.
So, Guru, with all the experience you've had, is there a personal experience or a moment that inspired you to look at artificial intelligence and try to build tools for healthcare and health delivery?
Yeah, George. It's it's always been my mom. My mom has been last 22 years. She's been suffering with a chronic condition. It's an autoimmune disorder called rheumatoid arthritis. And I've seen her struggle and manage through that chronic condition in a rural setting in India, and with very little access to a specialist, which was a big deal in terms of carrying that chronic condition on a day-to-day basis, and watching her life go through that condition was really painful thing, not just for me, for my entire family. So just the balancing of caregiving and navigating medical systems, it was a big deal in India, and it's not just India; it's everywhere. But there are close to 2 billion people like that with chronic condition around the world, and I realized that AI can be a huge level playing field where you can use that to help people like that, not just replace care or replace doctor, but augment their health in whenever that possible. Maybe I've seen my mom waking up in the night with pain and issues like that, and it left a lasting impression on me. So I thought, it's always been that goal of helping people like that who are nursing a chronic condition, where geographically divorced, and in terms of income, in terms of status and things like that. So it's really been all about inspiring my mother's condition, inspiring us to work on the situations like this, with Times Health giving us a platform to be at least a little bit of help in terms of managing that chronic condition.
I mean, Guru, I think that's something everybody can relate to, especially when it comes to seeing their loved one, seeing their mom go through something.
That's right.
I hope it's not too much of a switching gears, but health tech is really fast paced. How do you keep yourself going? Because you've done so many things in your history in healthcare, and it's not the easiest sector to be in, especially now. What keeps you going every day? What do you do?
I mean, see, people keep talking about, everybody talks about creating a routine, and creating a routine that we do every day, that's cathartic. I never understood that before I started walking early in the morning. So it was amazing, when I started doing that, a few years ago. Without any devices, without any phone, without any headphones, fitness trackers, just walking in the park, just be quiet, that quiet time. Clearly, the check-in with myself before the day begins was fantastic, and I kept on noticing that I tend to be more focused on the work, more focused on what exactly is ahead of me, and the problems, how we are solving it, and things like that. So that small habit, just a small change, 15-20 minutes of walk, park near your house, that small habit that became a big impact, that big part in how I stay grounded and creative, and try to create those solutions. So it's unbelievable, that small habit, and I've become a big proponent proponent of that, and even asked my wife to do that and my kids to do it, to create that small routine, George. And it unbelievable how transforming it was.
If you don't mind me asking, because I have to, I noticed the fact you said without trackers or technology, just free of everything. Don't say it too loud, Guru, because people might get the wrong idea that. Guru, I want to ask, in the work you've done over your career, is there an example where you've seen AI truly benefit underserved communities?
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of things, right? A couple of things, and one is we live in East Tennessee. It's a pocket in Tennessee where you have most of the population is in rural. There is a huge Medicaid population which is eligible for Medicaid here in US. So in US, the Medicaid is under a federal poverty level, a certain parts of poverty level. So one of the things that we do as part of the Oak Ridge National Lab also is to always look out for these regions and how we can create or reduce the cost of care in those regions, or increase the access to care in those regions. And one of the things we did here with the Medicaid population in East Tennessee was to assist them using AI, with different types of AI, the different modalities of AI, how AI can help them have access to that care. And because of the prevalent drug usage here within East Tennessee, there is a big problem with the dental hygiene. One of the things that we are focusing on Times Health is how we can improve that, how we can make people take precautions to avoid something like that. So that's one of the things that we are doing here in East Tennessee, and where we think that AI tool can improve significantly in terms of the quality of care that they're getting right now, where they intentionally have to go there. But if something is available on their phone itself 24/7, it makes them, it makes them use that. And the same thing with rural India also. We are trying to engage with a certain bureaucratic setup there in India, in order to provide them some sort of an access in native languages, where the underserved regions in India can be accessed and using. And nowadays in India, you get everybody has a smartphone, and if we can get something, an AI health coach running inside that smartphone, it will make a significant impact in literacy itself, in medication and healthcare literacy itself. So if you're more educated, more exposed to that, you tend to take care of your health more.
Again, I apologize. I'm switching gears a lot, but one of the things that our summit focuses on is AI ethics. We have a colleague, David Teague, who's part of the Health Data Forum, who's given multiple discussions and led multiple discussions about how do we approach it, what should we be doing, and especially with tech giants globally all pushing their own approach to ethics and privacy. In your career, have there been ethical challenges you've faced in AI healthcare projects, and how have you approached them?
So, what is the biggest challenges? Not just for Times Health challenge. It's a global challenge in whoever is working on AI based healthcare solutions, is the hallucination aspects of it. One of the bigger parts of it is how do I limit that hallucination? When typically when the AI is the transformers, the technology behind the AI is grounded in such a way that when AI determines that it doesn't have a solution, it will try to get you the nearest, the closest, possible probable solution, and it can be wrong too. So that you cannot allow that in healthcare, in medication, in the field of medical or this thing, or in healthcare, you cannot avoid that. So AI hallucination in medical advice is, especially when no clear evidence exists, is a big challenge. And the time, and there are different solutions to it, and there are different approaches to it, how you want to solve that problem. But the solution that Times AI Health is taking, we are limiting that AI responses to only evidence-based solutions, and we have made certain changes or tuning in the technology in our technology stack itself, which where it's built-in refusal logic that helps you and guides you for layered human in the loop escalation. When it understands that I'm not able to provide you a solution, then I have to escalate it to someone in the loop, here in this case a doctor or a nurse who can help you guide an appropriate results for you. But that is what we are treating right now at this stage. June 2025, everybody is taking that approach, and that's where we are heading. The AI is heading in that direction, that we treat AI as an assistant rather non-authoritative, and transparently communicate what is possible, what is not possible, and only limit to the education aspects of it.
Yeah, it's a novel approach, if you don't mind me saying, just because you're basically saying that the AI will say I don't know if it doesn't know. And I don't think we've seen that, at least in using ChatGPT
Right.
or Grok or any of the others. There's never a point where they say they don't know. So it's interesting that you're actually taking the approach of, well, no, this is the limits of what the AI can pull from, and then it's going to hand off to a better trained or more certified human to kind of fill in the rest of the gap.
Yeah, that's exactly, George. We've always been the idea here, and everybody involved in Times Health AI to design this. It's always been the augmenting aspects of AI rather than replacement of a doctor. So we want to be an assistant associate of a doctor, assisting doctor to provide care more efficiently, more optimized care, more reduced cost, rather than try to replace them exactly. Because just the example that I gave, my mother's example, where she wakes up in the night with pain at 2 a.m. in the night. So no doctor is available at that time, unless you go to an emergency, and rural emergencies are pretty scarce.
This is really amazing. George, if I may step in here just for a few seconds, because I'm thinking out loud of the problems we are facing here, also in this other side of the Atlantic, and specifically in the countries in Southern Europe, like Spain or Portugal, where I lived for many years in Spain and now currently in Portugal. And for our healthcare ministry, Guru, a solution like what you're offering could be a game changer in terms of sustainability, because it will allow medical professionals to be more effective, and on the other hand, for citizens to get medical care in conditions that will decrease a lot the pressure on emergency wards in hospitals, right?
That's absolutely.
How do you see that the demand for your solution will be in Europe, and also a little bit how it's progressing in the US? Because in similar ways you're facing the same challenge, right? It's not enough resources for patients.
Yeah, absolutely. In Europe, especially when Eastern Europe, where you have localizing the language, where you simplify the interface by giving them the ability to talk or interact with the AI in their language and in their semantics, especially, and ensuring that privacy first design, especially in Europe, where the sensitivity towards sharing the data and soliciting AI opinions is crucial. So those kind of things where it's embedded by design inside Times Health itself. So you go to Italy or Germany or France or anywhere, Poland and places like that, where it becomes critical, where you have the success is driven by the localizing the interface itself and simplifying the interface itself. So for example, if you have something growing on your skin, and you just take a photograph of it and then give it to the AI, and then say, hey, in your language, say then, hey, what is going on with my skin? And then it can scan all your skin and then tell you exactly what is going on, or give you some non-invasive solutions for you to take care of, or it will just nudge you to go to the doctor if it's serious enough. So, and then providing that in a complete localized language, with a simple interface, and with the privacy in its core, where the scan that you took is placed nowhere on the cloud, but exactly in your device, will go a long way in addressing population in Europe and health concerns in Europe.
Guru, Paul, if you want me kind of jumping on that,
Sure.
Guru, many of the large language models that are out there that are promoted by some of the larger companies, they're having difficulty working in the EU and other parts of the world because they're having difficulty with the data requirements. They're having issues with quality, and they're having issues with the privacy. The statement that's put out is that they say that it's difficult, if not impossible, to innovate and build an effective LLM for any sector, much less healthcare, without being able to break some of the privacy laws that exist. Do you see that as being true?
Uh, it is, right. So, for example, I don't want my data to be out there in the internet. I don't want these large LLM companies to have access to my data and feed their large language models to train them. So, in medical field, privacy is the top priority, George. No matter what, you want the privacy of the data to be completely central to what the solution you are providing. One of the things that we do, that's really critical and core of Times AI Health, is process that on the device. Your conversations never leave the device. So from GDPR standpoint, or from medical regulation capture standpoint, from in Europe, it's all about the privacy and how you are governing those core principles that the patient wants. That he doesn't want these conversations, he or she doesn't want that conversation to go out there, and they want to process everything on the device. That's exactly what the approach we are taking in Europe. Europe is that process the data locally. The data never leaves anywhere your devices, and it stays on the device. So that checks all the GDPR requirements, regulations, in terms of how you want to handle the patient data in Europe.
So Times Health is GDPR compliant, and
That's exactly right.
and
That's exactly right.
and it is possible then to offer this type of help to people and not have to pull in all the information to train the AI every single time.
Absolutely, we are. It was not possible year and a half ago, but the pace with which AI and the associated technology tools are evolving, it is possible now. You can take an AI, embed it in user's smartphone, and then let that smartphone process conversations or questions that the patient is asking on the device itself, and then store it on the device. So if you lose the device, or if you delete an app, all that conversation goes away, and that's how it should be protected.
Another question that comes up is quality of data. One of the things we've talked about in the Health Data Forum is that without good quality data, you really can't have good artificial intelligence. In marginalized or rural populations, when you're building AI tools, there's usually a lot of gaps in that information. How do you account for that, or how do you try to ensure data quality and accessibility in those situations?
Yeah. So one of the things that we did right from the beginning was we collaborated with Harvard Medical School, and the best part about that collaboration was we prioritized the device level data collection, which Harvard has, and then storage when connectivity is reliable. So that, especially our models are trained on that diverse representative data sets, with medical oversight, obviously, with lots of literature which was aligned towards this diverse representation, with medical oversight from Harvard Medical School itself, people like that. And we completely co-designed with community health workers and then the local clinics that were available to ensure that relevance is there, to ensure that inclusivity there, and then to ensure that the gaps in care or gaps in data collection is not widespread and things like that. But you cannot 100% eliminate that, George. You're absolutely right. You cannot 100% eliminate that, but you can use proxies and certain technology tools in order to minimize the impact that it provides to the technology stack that you're creating.
I think we'll appreciate the fact that having people in the community that have helped to design it so that that not only the workflow but the data flow allows for that. That's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a little bit more of a reflective question, so forgive me for this, Guru. But in your experience, I'm sure you've worked on some health equity projects in the past, and for a lot of these projects, they don't always go as planned. Do you have one of those experiences in your background? And if you don't mind me asking, has that affected how you approached building Times Health?
Yeah, absolutely. And any software development of any software is an evolving process. In one of our earlier pediatric pilot, we underestimated the digital literacy barriers. It was really bad in terms of how our chatbot was interacting with too text heavy content. Parents felt overwhelmed, and the amount of data that we are providing, the amount of text that we are providing for each and every conversation that they were having with our chatbot was overwhelming. So we shifted to voice first interfaces, and we made some modifications to things like that, leading to a better engagement and the follow-up. It's basically, so the lesson was always test your intended users, and not just text heavy proxies. Actual people who want to use it, who wants to use it for a day-to-day care and things like that. So we actually created a smart pilot with 50 people, gave it to them, try to engage the willingness for soliciting AI help and things like that. And that was an extremely important evolutionary step in our in Times Health AI apps, in order to determine what works, what doesn't work, what is the willingness, and how much of that affinity is there towards the AI assistant and things like that. So it gave us a huge platform to work with.
I mean, it's just nice to hear, Guru. Like, you don't hear many people talking about what they've built, how they've designed it, who they're building it for. A lot of the time, it's I'll built it. Now go figure it out and use it. And if there's a problem, don't tell me about it. It's a
Yeah, absolutely.
change of approach. Plus, Paul, when we've talked about with Health Data Forum, one of the things you've always been a strong proponent for is learning from everybody. Everybody's experience is valuable. And if we're trying to get out to the different communities, learning from their wisdom, what works for them, will be the only way to be successful.
Yeah,
absolutely. It truly incorporates the values of medicine. I believe this tool, the primal values of medicine.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
All right, Guru, we're going to ask you to put your prediction hat on now. How do you see AI-driven digital tools advancing personalized care for marginalized communities in the next decade?
Yeah, I think that's where we are heading. We are heading towards hyper localized model, George, Paul. In this highly competitive space, the AIs will start running locally on the device without needing the help of the internet, and AI will act like a culturally sensitive, 24/7 available companion that's always with you. It'll be integrated with your national health systems, no matter where you are. It'll allow you to seamless referrals from one doctor to another doctor, prescriptions, chronic care conditions, everything managed through a AI-led effort from the patient standpoint. From the doctor's standpoint, there will be AIs assisting you from all the value chain, from initial interaction with the patient, all the way to encounters having closing, and then talking to the insurance companies, everything from A to Z, from the provider standpoint, AI will be there lockstep helping you in every step of the way. So AI in healthcare will become, I feel, ubiquitous. Patients lead with AI, doctors will get assistance from AI. Overall, the cost of care will come down significantly, and then access to care will improve a lot. I feel like it will act as a huge democratizer, not just here in US, in Europe, in Africa, in Asia, and places where access to care is a big problem still, and even cost of care is significantly high compared to what it should be.
Agreed. Guru, in this summit, a lot of what we talk about are data compliance, quality, and we do have government officials that attend the conference. The difficulty that they run into, and we've had it in the States, but obviously they have it in Europe and other parts of the world as well. The true issue seems to be balancing innovation, but trust, right? We've been told that you have to give up certain comforts or certain privacies for convenience sake, for the ability to access certain services. So I can imagine from a regulatory perspective, it's very difficult to create legislation or regulation that can balance this. Given your experience, both as a technologist and an entrepreneur, how would you advise people that are trying to moderate this and balance this properly?
I mean, you see, from the patient-centered, privacy must be the foundation, not a secondary consideration.
Yeah.
Right. So it's always like, when we trust some built into both policy and product, we have that. Then it's a completely different aspect when you take a look at it. So especially, so I completely advocate two options here. One is on the regulatory space, and another one is at the technical space. On the regulatory space, it's always about how do I capture that privacy aspects. How do I capture the transparency aspects of of the decision making, and how do I make user realize that they own it? Right now in US, at least, users don't own their data. It's the hospitals and other administrative aspects of care providers that own the data. So that needs to be changed. That regulatory capture needs to happen at some point. So that transparency is really important and mandated in a plain language disclosure to the users, what they are getting into, what exactly they are they are soliciting help from AI, and how their data is eventually being utilized, or whether it's utilized or not. Those are some of the clear audit points that need to be taken into considerations for regulatory capture from the policy and framework standpoint. Technically, the device side implementation, we don't want patient AIs that are facing patients to go to rely on the cloud access or the internet access. We want the AIs that are facing the patients to be with the patients, and it should be completely left to the patient's discretion to say that I don't want my data to be utilized anywhere else but me. It's there to help me, to guide me, to provide care for me. That technical aspects of building that into the system itself goes a long way in ensuring that transparency, ensuring that effective way of providing care. And we also need to support federally learned techniques, right? So there are various appropriate measures that are already being taken in the 20th Century Cures Act, also here in US, where it mandated access to care, access to the clinical records of the patients to be provided to the patients. Things like that enforcement and implementation, what they did there in the AI space, on the technical and the regulatory aspects of it, is what I think I advocate. I think that's where we are heading. Feels like this current administration is also moving in that direction.
So one last closing question, at least from me, Paul. If you have any to want to follow up, feel free to. We have a large, diverse audience of policymakers, clinicians, innovators. From your experience, what's at least one step that our audience can take to advance health equity using AI?
Well, so I think we need to pick one aspect that people are scared of AI right now, and people don't want to solicit information from an AI. That we need to make them realize that AI is not here to take your liberty away. AI is not here to provide you bad guidance. It's here to help you. AI is here to make your life easier. AI is here to provide you more access to care. The more AI is here to reduce that cost of care that you are facing right now. So that one aspect of teaching people, that how AI can help you, and how AI will be able to make all these traditional healthcare related problems around the world, how it can solve those problems with very little effort technically as well as regulation wise, can make a big difference in the quality of care you are providing to the patient.
Okay.
Absolutely. This was a great conversation, George. Thank you so much for leading. And Guru, thank you so much for being here. Before we go, just let me put here the overlay of our Health Data Forum global events that are going to happen in a few in the fall. This is going to be a series of events hosted by the Health Data Forum, where data integrity meets ethical innovation. We are gathering leaders, researchers, policymakers, and pioneers at the intersection of digital health, real-world evidence, and responsible AI. In September, we head to Cardiff in Wales for the Health Data Forum Global Hybrid Summit, exploring how data insights are driving real change in healthcare systems. In November, we traveled to Dubai for a high-level executive think tank focused on the future of AI and real-world evidence in decision-making, co-hosted by our partners at ZIMAM. And throughout the year, of course, we continue to champion our global movement, Data First, AI Later, ensuring that trust, transparency, and patient-centered values remain at the core of healthcare innovation. Stay with us throughout the year as we continue these conversations. And back to you for final goodbyes.
I wanted to say thank you to Guru Kora for joining us today. As long as I've known him, he's always been very generous as being highly intelligent, but also really embodies the spirit of what we want in healthcare, for people to help people. So Guru, thank you taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us and to educate us, as you always have for me.
Yeah, absolutely. George, Paul, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk about Times AI Health. Thank you.
It was great having you here, Guru. Goodbye, everybody, and see you next time.